Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Friday, November the 17th. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap-up. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And just a reminder as we end this trading week. Risk management. Never lose more than you're willing to lose on any one particular trade. So let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly. We can see we are 228 pips above the weekly open and 228 pips above the weekly low, which means we never drop below the weekly open. And we're 72 pips off that weekly high. Notice that all the gaps have filled, according to the dashboard, those weekly open gaps. We'll zoom out to the monthly. Notice that we are 287 pips above the monthly open, 72, 73 off the high, and 337 off the low. The weekly, monthly, and yearly opening range chart shows that we're above all three ranges by a boatload at the moment. And for the year, we're 334 pips above the yearly open, 709 off the high, and 630 off the low. And we're 40 pips above the current midpoint for this year. Inside bar, we had one 2 days ago, and notice yesterday and today we broke out of those lows. And if you notice, that inside bar daily low was just slightly above the inside bar of the monthly high inside bar, or the high of the monthly inside bar. So right here, this is these lines here right around 2400 level. It looks like a critical point. So do we support above or do we break below? Something to keep in mind next week when you're trading. And let's see, next week here in the US of A, we're going to have Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. So could be a really slow week. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. For the day, only 66 pips of range on the pound dollar. And it looks like the dollar yen is leading the charge here with 158 pips. Buy zone. We crisscrossed across the daily open. You can see here the weekly opens. You have to really scrunch the chart to get the weekly open on the chart. So you can see here in and out of the buy zone past couple of hours. And it looks like we're putting in a flat top here, but you can see we're putting in higher lows, flat tops, so it's like price wants to push to the upside. Buyers might be in slight control there. Red rats, you might want to think about starting a feast. Range is large enough, but once again, all your biases are against you. Trading plan. Bambino flex indicator was indicating to go short. Near R1 was a short. Near the pivot was a short. And near S1 was a long. So you can see here, we got near S1, ran up. We got near the pivot a couple of times for shorts, but then prices turned around and went the other way. But I've been pointing out this little pivot trading plan a few times because we've been talking about, keeping things simple, and that pivot trading plan indicator is something. See, I don't even remember how long ago I wrote it. 2016. And that's in the mother load, so that's free to download. No donation required. But it just gives you something to use. You can either use it for bias or you can actually trade the pivots. But it can be profitable, but of course you have to make sure you take profit before the market takes it back. And if you have your stop loss in place when it's wrong, you lose a few pips. But when when it predicts the right way to go, that's when you can rake in some pips. And so we've got a missed H4 pivot down here at the 2400 level. The daily, we've taken that out. The weekly we've taken out, and the monthly we've taken out. But I see those two missed pivots below here. I'm thinking price might want to come and grab these two. This one, not so sure of, but these two. And so on H4, we've got 8 missed pivots this year. We've got 3 so far this month. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the wick zone. Yesterday's upper and lower wick zone. It's huge. Looks like we basically had a doji candle yesterday. So the wick zone, price is just pretty much staying in the wick zone. I don't know if we're going to finish out of it or not. It'll be interesting to see what happens. My guess is if it finishes outside, it'll probably finish above. I don't know if it's going to finish right between. I don't think there's anything to drive it below 23.75 at the moment. And looking at the range, we got 300 pip range this week. We had a 300 pip range 2 weeks ago. We're only looking at 12 weeks, so this one's probably slightly bigger than that one. It just could be a rounding. So we're at the 91 percentile. High minus previous high, 77. We didn't break out of the previous low because, once again, the open and the low for the week are one and the same. Price just went up and never looked back. High minus close at the moment, 71 for you red rats. 229 for you green rats, close minus low. Buy zone or weekly crossover traders here. It was 0 to the downside because, once again, we never moved down, but to the upside, 300 pip. That's a lot of pips. And then looking at the simple price action chart here, looking at M30, you can see we've got a couple of aqua indicator 2 dots here. So on this one, there was no move to the downside, just to the upside, pips to be grabbed. We had an outside bar that got tested, but price reversed. And once again, you can see that higher lows with the flat top. It looks like price wants to bust to the upside. In fact, I think, not on this broker, but I think on my other broker, it actually hit 40.1. But we've had a couple of failures of the launch pad here. Actually, yesterday, it actually did launch one time. Got as high as 55. But that first time was a fail. And the second time went through, and then it crashed back down. So you can see this big down bar, that was a return bar. And you can see how price pretty much hit it and then returned. We still have this big return bar to take care of, but maybe that'll be in a couple of days. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And higher low, lower high, we've been talking about that. You can see here on the 1 minute what that looks like. And this last little range here, move between 17 pips off of 24.17 at the moment. And you can see price is kind of looking range bound here. Probably wants to do a breakout. Once again, looking at this flat top area with the higher lows. And for November, year to date accumulated range 1340. We haven't pushed range by month. 410. So we've already exceeded last month. But let's see, we've got a 348 and a 217. So it looks like if things play out normal, we've got more range to go in November. Let's take a quick look at the ATRs here. Hmm. 511. So once again, we're way below what could happen. So if we look at it as a percentage, we're at the 80% level, which we had 99 in September, 96 in Jan, 94, and then 80. So this is in the 4th position right now. See if we get any more movement. And close minus open percentage from the open of the year, we're at 2.85, so we're up over 2% from October. So just some things to keep in mind when you're trading, having these numbers handy. And then looking at the trade reminder, okay, we're at the monthly, we're above the upper wick zone. Previous range has been exceeded, buyers exhibiting strong control. We drop down to the weekly. Price is above the upper wick zone, buyers strong control. We crossed above the previous midpoint. Drop down to the daily. And price is inside the upper wick zone because once again, yesterday was pretty much a doji, but buyers having strong control. We crossed above the previous midpoint. And we also crossed above the pivot. But for the day, we've got a lower high and a lower low. So this is going to look like a sucker bar on the daily. So, fellow traders, that pretty much wraps up the week. So I'm going to wish you a fun and safe weekend. And really be safe out there because there's going to probably be some people wanting to travel to get ready for Thanksgiving. A lot of crazy shoppers. So, keep your head on swivel. Be prepared. And enjoy your weekend. Life isn't all trading, so it's just a part of what we do. It's not who we are, it's just part of what we do. So, when you do come back to trade, I want you to always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.